Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday afternoon, September 22nd. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and SPY. And as one of the traders in my room loves to say, the market continues to amaze and delight children and adults of all ages. Now, once again, let's put it in context. Sellers are certainly in control, right? We gapped lower, filled the gap, stayed below the opening for 10 time frames before L&M tried to go higher. However, a couple of things I noticed today. Sellers had a tremendously difficult time just getting the overnight low. They barely got it in D, and that's all. Number two, and this is the important one, I put this out on Twitter during the day. The absorption at 37.80 in ES and 375 in SPY was very interesting. Tremendous amount of volume there. 40,000 contracts in ES. SPY had about 600 and somewhat thousand absorbed at that time. A lot of it was done, over half of that was done in A, B, and C. Even though we traded through those prices most of the day, over half was done in the first three time frames. Something tells me, and I'll show you on the chart, when the last CPI in June, when the market had those huge gaps but never went trend and had wide POCs. Well, we just missed the 13 wide POC. We had a 12 wide today, and we had that kind of absorption back then also. That doesn't mean we can't go lower, right? Long-term money can absorb short-term money, but they're not going to stick at one price. If we decide to go lower tomorrow, they might pick another price, just like they did back in June. But what it does on the day time frame is frustrate the shorts because they're not getting anything to the downside. They're just constantly being absorbed. And I told the room I was kind of leaning towards the market trying to go get above the opening sometime and maybe even get the day's high. Now, we finally did get the opening in L&M, but we never got the day's high. And then M reversed in the last 3 minutes and really almost took back the whole day's range, which is incredible. That's Mo for you. That's why they're part of the Three Stooges, okay? I mean, Mo did, how much did he do? He did all that. I mean, it's 10 million shares, but still, just spectacular move by Mo in the last time frame. I had a good day. Didn't trade a lot in the afternoon. There was so much chop involved, especially with that little bias I had about the buyers maybe taking it up. I didn't take advantage, as I should have, in FG, I, J, K, of shorting up there. I only did it once. But in A period, I took a short, not when we filled the gap, but when we came back below the opening and then pushed back up towards the opening, I took a short and did well on that. B period, again, I didn't short the lows, but any push up because the ebb and flow was in favor of sellers with the value, one-time framing, indices down, below the opening. So I shorted B. Twice I shorted it and did well. Took a long in F period when it looked like we were going to get above the 144. It looked like they wanted to get some tempo, and maybe we would go and put in an afternoon rally high. Well, I did okay on the long, but I might have missed the forest for the trees on that one because I didn't reverse and short it right away, and boy, would that have paid because F came right in. But I did take a short in G against F's high. And then again, that's it. I didn't do anything after that. I had an accidental trade, believe it or not, in L period where I went long, and then I actually reversed short for a much bigger trade because when the long came in, I got back what I was down on the long. Didn't mean to do that. So it was an interesting day in the fact that sellers totally controlled it, yet really couldn't get much at the lows. So it's going to be really interesting to see tomorrow. Do they get going again? Remember, the next destination is the 371 level in SPY, which we talked about. That's the next destination. It should not have been that hard to go test it today. So now I'll give them, again, the weekly's down and the daily's down. If we take out today's low, I fully expect to go get that monthly low. If we take out today's high, well, then we're firmly back in a 2 or 3 day balance, depending on how much we get out of yesterday's range. So as far as destinations on the downside, we have today's low of 63.50. 45 is the afternoon pullback from the 14th and 23.75 monthly low. That is ES. On the upside, 83.25 is 12 wide from today. 06.75 is today's high. 32.75 is the price probe from yesterday. For SPY, the upside, 375.37, 12 wide. Today's high, 377.66. And yesterday's price probe of 380.25. For the downside, 373.44 is the daily low. 373.14. We have an afternoon pullback low from July 14th. I forgot to give you these yesterday. There was a small set of single prints. 373.13.04. And then the monthly low of 371.04. Now, again, I will recap all three of these indices charts tomorrow. All right. Thank you again for the likes on this channel and subscribing to it. Now, here's the weekly. Weekly is firmly down now. Outside week down, down. The weekly will not go back to balance until we take out a weekly high. So the weekly is down. And remember, look at this. Look at these 3 weeks. They tried at this trend line high and failed. And boom, we're at our lows from that time. Daily, down. Right? It was a 4-day balance yesterday because we had taken out the previous day's high. Today, firmly down. If we take out today's high tomorrow, we come into balance. If we don't, it continues down. And the progression of lower highs and lower lows continues. Volume today right now, not bad actually. 87 million with the after hours to go. One other point. We took out 2020's settlement twice today, which is 373.83. Now we closed above it barely. Why is that important? Well, psychologically, if we're below it, that means we just basically wiped out 2 years worth of gains, right? So I think the psychological effect is worse than what the market's actually doing. Now here are those other 2 days where I thought long-term money came into the market. Right? We had a wide POC on June 10th with a large gap. And then the long-term money said, well, we'll buy it lower. Another huge gap. Again, no trend day that day, no trend day that day. And they bought the hell out of it in that day. 170 million that day. 132 million that day. Look where today's action is. Now, the reason this is important, if this was long-term money, it went lower for 5 more days, right? But then look, over the next month or two, they got paid. We went from 375 up to 431. So here's the question. If this is the long-term money here and here that bought it, and maybe they got out, are they starting to dabble and get back in again? They made good money on this trade, even on this one. Eventually, they made good money. So are they back in it again? I don't know. But I'm telling you, it wasn't short-term money absorbing there. But again, it doesn't mean the market won't make lower lows on the year. It's just something that's very interesting, especially on the intraday time frame as we're trading it. Hope you had a good day trading. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.